We have these conversations very often amongst each other. You might be in your cipher, you might be at a barbecue, you might be at a family hanging out with your boys, hanging out with your girls, something like that. We often talk about this stuff. We talk about the problems in our communities. But at the same time, we talk about the problems in our communities against each other in our communities. Not just the poverty, not just the police brutality. We don't really focus on some of the core issues that affect us. But at least we can come together on some common terms sometimes.
Right.
Read,
right.
Salaki.
Psalms chapter 133 and verse 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
How good, how pleasant is it for brethren to dwell together in unity?
Right.
Well, we ain't got no violence against each other. But now we might have certain pockets, certain groups of people that you know. Like I know y'all, I might not know the next brother in the next neighborhood. But that don't mean that I gotta have problems with them. But how quick it turns and escalates into drama. How quick you spot an op across the street in the same neighborhood that you live in, a family member, a relative. How quick it turns from brotherhood, from just saying hello, or shopping at the same corner store, to firing off at each other, to fighting in the middle of the street, to trying to kill one another. There are deep-seated problems between families that need to be healed. But look how good it is when we squash that, when we're able to overcome that, get the right counseling for the right problems.
Right.
Have that conversation to fix the issues in our community, to combat the oppression from these devils.
That's right.
How good it is to see some brothers playing dice on the corner. Ain't nobody got shot. Ain't nobody got shot. That's beautiful to see.
Right.
How good it is to have a barbecue at your cousin's house, at your grandma's house, where ain't nobody getting stabbed, ain't nobody getting robbed. Ain't got no problems.
That's right.
And we able to come together, man. We able to just kick it. Enjoy the music. Enjoy somebody freestyling. Enjoy the cooking.
Right.
Enjoy the beautiful women around us. Enjoy watching these children raised up properly, guided and protected. Because who else is going to protect our babies, man? If it ain't us. But you can't just protect that little pocket that you claim in a neighborhood that you don't own. Look at how many different sectors of this city alone in St. Paul and in Minneapolis that we occupy. We don't own it, but we live there. We're the residents. Our children are the ones playing in them yards, playing basketball and football on them streets, at them parks. How, Slacker, read that from the top, sir.
Verse 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Verse 2. Verse 2. It is like the precious ointment upon the head.
And now you got to take that in consideration, too. It's like being treated with something special, man.
Right.
It's like it's something rare to us, something that we don't experience enough amongst each other. It would be the equivalent nowadays to when you go see your bro and you pass him a bottle of Cavassier or what's some expensive up here? Some Lafroig, some damn, what's that one? Yeah, some Johnny Walkers, something good. Like when you pass your bottle, your brother or sister a bottle of something good. You know what I'm saying? You give them some good food. For a lot of us, all too many of us, all throughout our neighborhoods, it's constituted with drugs and money. That's how you show your love to your people. That's how we, express our adoration for one another by giving each other something that's deemed of value. You know what I'm saying? Giving us something that's deemed expensive and a token of gratitude or a token of appreciation. Back in the day, we anointed each other with oil. We gave each other a feast. Right. We didn't murder each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We gather together. Look at us, like all over this city, all over the Twin Cities, man, we kicking it. All over the Twin Cities and all these spots we gathering together.
Right.
And then something petty might break it up. Because of the oppression of these devils. Because of the strain and stress they put on us to have enmity between each other. When our brotherhood is the key to their destruction.
That's right.
Our brotherhood, our serenity, our peace, our prosperity is the key to their destruction.
That's right.
They won't be able to make their living off of us if we are not killing each other out here.
Right.
They won't be able to build their kingdom off of us if we are not robbing each other out here.
Right.
They would not have a Planned Parenthood in every ghetto across the nation if we were not aborting our babies, man.
Right.
Right.
They would not survive. Their kingdom would not survive if it did not mean our destruction.
Right.
They live off of our death.
That's right.
The messed up part about this statement that everybody just gonna drive by and walk past is that you know it's true.
Right.
You know it's true. But you're still gonna sell drugs to one another. And I understand, like, it's a means to an end, right? It's a way to make rent. You gotta pay bills, you gotta feed your kids, you gotta pay, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. There are other ways for us to get up out of that ditch, though. Here's one of them. Here's one of them. Gathering together. And knowing that peace between us. And how good it is for us to see our kids raised up, man. Without no threats of having to watch somebody cross the street. Having to watch your cousin, your uncle, your drunk neighbor, man. Somebody that you had beef with years ago. Now, because they can't mess with you, they might try to mess with your family.
Right.
Problems that can be easily solved with the right counsel. You ain't got to take my word for it, but you can call up that number. You can go to isupk.com. You can scroll down to the city nearest you. You can get in contact with that school. You get in contact with that leader. Ask them the questions.
Right.
Get to the root of the problem.
That's right.
And let's find a solution. And I know the dogma and the stigmatism of the Bible and how it's being used against us as a people. But when I tell you the solution is found in these records, it's like, hold that up. When I tell you the solution is found in these records, that's the truth.
That's right.
If you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, this is your history book.
Right.
This is your code of conduct. This is your Declaration of Independence. And it starts with a few key points. This is how we get it cracking, man.
Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
Say that again. O nation what?
Not desired.
O nation what?
Not desired.
Love everybody.
Not desired.
God knows my heart.
Not desired.
If everybody was just supposed to love everybody, and that's the propagation that they put out there, why ain't we loved?
Right.
Why don't we love each other? Why do we got problems between blacks and Hispanics? Between so-called blacks and so-called Native Indians or First Nation people? Between so-called Native Indians and Hispanics? Between so-called Mexicans and Puerto Ricans? Why do we got problems amongst each other? Because we got split up by everybody else that we try to join hand in hand with. Everybody else that took advantage of us.
That's right.
That showed that they hated us. They profited off of us, but they showed that they hated us. Psalms 121. And they've proven it time and time again. How many more times do we have to experience it firsthand? Give you a precept for it just to ignore the forewarning. We know what kind of hell is coming. It's been prophesied, and we see it unfolding. But the drugs are enough. That new strain of weed, that's enough. That's enough to keep you occupied, enough to keep you busy. Fentanyl too, everything fentanyl laced. I don't know what ain't gonna be fentanyl laced in a little bit.
Right.
Your dryer sheets, your socks. Don't go to Walmart no more. Everything under the sun might be fentanyl lacing a little bit. Everything else is GMO. Everything else is doctored in some way or another.
Right.
But we conform to this society because it's easier to take their drugs. It's easier to be tolerant of what they push upon us.
Right.
Instead of going against the grain. Instead of going against the social norm. Because that makes other people feel uncomfortable because they trying to live in their kingdom. They trying to live in their kingdom. Ain't none of these buildings owned by us. And look how much, you know how many floors in this building right here are vacant? Do you know how many people that are living on the streets in tent cities? That building alone, do you know how many homeless families that could fund?
Right.
That could house?
Right.
All the resources in just St. Paul.
Right.
There shouldn't be one. There shouldn't be one homeless family out there with
That's
all the
right.
resources they got. All the vacancies in all these government-owned buildings. All the programs. Hey, there's a tent city, a hop, skip, and a jump away from right here. Right downtown, there's a tent city. Across the bridge, there's a tent city. On the east side, on the west side, there's a tent city. Under a bridge near you, there's a tent city. There's somebody sleeping in a sleeping bag in winter under a bridge.
Right.
Warmed up with a box. High off of the latest drug that they can get.
Right.
Drunk out of their mind for no reason. Just to try to avoid the realization of their poverty. Because of generational curses and oppression. Things that our families have been destroyed by. That they still propagate, that they still profit off of. And that we still accept because they'll give you that EBT card.
Right.
Because they'll give you a government program. That sounds good and it makes sense in the short term gratification. It makes, instant gratification, quick bucks, quick stability. It gives you that false sense of security. This is the truth though.
Psalms 121. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? Verse 2. My help cometh from the Lord.
We're going to lift up our eyes to the hills from what's coming to our help. When you know who you're praying to. You got another precept in the Bible that says, they know not what they worship. We know what we worship though.
Right.
That's why you got to get back into these records. Because it's going to tell you who your power is. When you're looking up to them hills, who you supposed to be looking up to. Who you supposed to be praying to. Because everybody and their mama, they got a Edomite. They got a so-called Caucasian in their living room, in their dining room, in their